that Hunter's business associates, get this, visited the White House over 80 times while Joe was vice president. Longtime partner Eric Schwerin tops the list with 30 visits, followed by Joan Mayer, who was VP of the investment firm Rosemont Seneca. Congresswoman Nancy Mace serves on the House Oversight Committee and joins us now. Congresswoman, did that number surprise you?
It's shocking, really. Here you had President Biden lie and deny he had any involvement with Hunter's businesses. Come to find out, there's voicemail evidence, email evidence, and now White House evidence where his business partners visited over 80 times when he was vice president. This is corruption at its core. Now, remember, he has dealt with this question in the past. What about Hunter's business dealings? Remember some of these answers.
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period.
Do you stand by your statement that you did not discuss any of your son's overseas business dealings?
Yes, I stand by that statement.
Should he really stand by that statement at this hour with 80 visits? Are they talking about intramural basketball?
Oh, it's an all-out lie. And here's what our Republican message needs to be. The United States is not for sale. This is not the kind of thing that we can allow to go on. The Oversight Committee, we're going to follow the facts wherever they take us. And we just got all of these suspicious activity reports. We're working every day in that investigation so the American people actually know the truth of what happened. And look at, he's on the world stage with his son right now. We've lost Brazil. We've lost the Middle East. And Biden has now, he's losing the European Union over Taiwan. And so we're very weak right now on the world stage. And we need to show the American people that he should not be the president after 2024.
Congresswoman, we lost France. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, we lost France.
So just by the way, okay, you got logs and you're at home saying so. Well, I think there's one other revelation. Mike McCormick, former White House stenographer during the Obama years, says this. He's been trying to get the FBI's attention. He said, quote, Joe Biden committed crimes in Ukraine in a conspiracy with the current National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. I am a witness to that happening. They've been looking at Hunter Biden, but this ties Joe Biden and Sullivan into promoting a kickback scheme with Ukraine. It's the timeline that does it. And keep in mind, after he left, it turns out a couple of days prior to his arrival in Ukraine, Hunter Biden gets on the Burisma board with very little qualifications. Okay, none. And then $50 million gets approved by Congress to support Ukraine's energy sector. Looks terrible.
Oh, yeah, it's totally and completely corrupt. They've denied every fact that Republicans have brought forward. At some point, I'm sure they're going to trot out James Clapper out of the freezer, just like they did over the Hunter laptop disinformation scheme, to deny this as well. That's what they do.
Your concern, I understand, is the press is looking at other things. Even though he's the current president, possibly running for re-election is expected, they just don't seem to care about this. Why?
Well, it's very hard to say, but they will not investigate. No one is above the law. We've heard that for weeks now, not even a former president. And look at the corruption, the lies that have happened, the pay to play. This was not a revolving door. This very much appears to be pay to play in the White House when he was vice president. If it's good enough to investigate a former president, then certainly we should be investigating a current president over potential corruption and crimes that we're witnessing right now.
So there's something else going on, and that is Alvin Bragg and Jim Jordan are kind of going after each other now. Alvin Bragg seemed very defensive about the possibility of being asked to testify, along with his former colleague, Pomerantz, who's going to be called in front of you guys to answer some questions about what exactly was the political thing happening in your office that had so much interest in the former president. And you think that overshadows something like this?
I do. I think the tit for tat will overshadow in the media. I think it ends up being a wash for us, which is troubling because you look at what happened in New York. This was not a crime that was committed, a felony at least, and if it were, the statute of limitations has run out. And so because of that, they're just going to be tit for tat in the media. We know we're not getting fair coverage over the Hunter Biden story because we were all labeled conspiracy theorists, and it's stacked against us right now, unfortunately, in the media.
Looks like fellow South Carolinian Tim Scott's going to announce he's running for president, if not today, soon. Does he have your support?
Well, I see two South Carolinians that might be running for president. Nikki Haley, a friend of mine, Tim Scott. I go to church with him. We have great leadership coming out of our state, and I look forward to a vigorous primary in the state of South Carolina, which is first in the South, by the way, for Republican primaries in the presidential.
Okay.